What We All Long For, a video project by Rachel Tong and novel by Dionne Brand. Introducing Tuyen, a Vietnamese-Canadian avant-garde artist and lesbian. She's the third daughter of Cam and Tuyen, who escaped communist Vietnam on a boat traveling to Toronto shores. She has a very disjointed relationship with her family, which consists of Cam and Tuyen, her parents, I and Lam, Tuyen's older sisters, Bin, Tuyen's younger brother, and Guai, a mysterious older brother who disappeared on an immigrant boat. Let's start with Tuyen's parents. Cam and Tuyen are heartbroken after Guai's disappearance. Both of them dealt with the loss in different ways. Cam would replay her memory over and over again, painstakingly trying to identify the moment when Guai disappeared. She hopes by doing so she's able to rewrite history, but alas it doesn't work and her guilt remains and haunts her, resulting into Ismonia. Tuyen, on the other hand, would draw all the buildings in Toronto and often stay up late at his Vietnamese restaurant just drawing, while the rest of his family goes home. Bin, a shrewd businessman, somehow managed to find Guai towards the end of the novel, and he brings him to Toronto. Tuyen finds out about this during the Soccer World Cup when she's taking pictures of people in Toronto and coincidentally takes a picture of both Bin and Guai together. Then, throughout the novel, we see Tuyen pinning for Carla's affections. Carla is unfortunately straight and shies away from Tuyen's often daring advances. This strains their friendship, which is often exemplified through the doorway between their apartments, which were adjacent to each other. As mentioned on page 52, the doors to their apartments, which were adjacent, were usually left open, but in the last few days, Carla had kept hers closed. Finally, in Tuyen's apartment, she starts to build the Lubiao, which centers around the other main characters like Carla, Oku, and Jackie. The art installation, also known as the Lubiao, is a central metaphor that's used to frame all the narratives in the story. In short, this installation unifies all the old longings of another generation and contemporary longing through the location, but primarily the structure. So as previously mentioned, the Lubiao is located in Tuyen's apartment. Her apartment is often a place of congregation and gathering for all her friends, and at one point, the graffiti crew. When this art installation is finished, Tuyen asks Jackie, who owns a vintage clothing store, whether she could install the Lubiao there. This is significant because having the installation placed near old clothing where contemporary customers can purchase brings together both generations. From pages 307 to 308, the Lubiao is described as a 3-room installation. Each room would have a diaphanous cylindrical curtain hung from the ceiling that the audience could enter. The first room would be dedicated to the longings of the older generations, namely Tuyen's parents' generation. Her parents escaped communist Vietnam on a boat headed towards Toronto shores. Tuyen intends to put some rubble, perhaps sand, and water on the floor. These represent their journey across the ocean, and the rubble shows the instability and destruction that they escaped from. The second room is described as having 12 video projections, constantly changing, of images and texts of contemporary longing. This room is opposite of the first room, as dedicated to the longings of the contemporary generation. Tuyen collects these longings when she briefly worked at her brother's store. She had asked many of his customers, "What do you long for?" These answers are then written on the curtains. Both these rooms have something in common, and that is Tuyen scattered tiny photographs of Guai throughout all these rooms. She doesn't know how she feels about Guai, a brother that she had never met, but has played an integral part in her childhood. One of her most striking childhood memories is watching her mother frantically write letters to refugee officials trying to find Guai, with a photograph of him attached. This photograph has been photocopied and littered all over the house. Not only does the art installation capture the longings of the city of Toronto, but also becomes a personal device for Tuyen to come to terms with her own desires. An art piece is personal to its creator, and Tuyen's installation is no different. Her longing takes form in an empty third cylinder. She is uncertain with what to place in the third room, but, quote, she knew she would find out only once the installation was done. The final idea is her own longing, which she, quote, had been circling for, but had been unable to pin down. The emptiness of the third room, and the absence of anybody else's longing allows for Tuyen to reflect about her own longing. Together, these 3 rooms connect Tuyen's parents, contemporary Toronto, and Tuyen herself. Thanks for watching.